Hello, my name's Sarita, and I'm speaking to you today from Solhenge. And I'm here to help you understand the truth about who you are. Now, one of the truths about who you are is that as an energetic being, you have the ability to see energy around people and things, if you so wish and if you practice it. This is actually a skill. And what I wanted to do is I wanted to share with you some tips to help you along the way so that you can develop this skill and see it for yourself. Now, when you first start trying to see energy around things, it can be very frustrating because what you're trying to do is you're trying to develop another sensory perception that you may not as yet have practiced. It is a skill, and it's something which can become as natural as seeing or listening or touching if you do it enough. But there are some little techniques that I'm going to give you to help you along the way. Now, the first one is begin by practicing with objects that don't move, so not humans, basically. And I find it's really easy to see the aura and the energy around trees or bushes or plants. So that's where I suggest that you begin. And another tip when you're doing this is to do it in twilight. And that's because twilight is an extraordinary light that lets you see sort of between the veils of realities, I have found. Because once you become skilled, you'll be able to see auras and energy, in full sunlight. That won't be a problem. But to begin with, you need that kind of hazy light because it kind of dims the way you're looking at things through your normal eyes and allows you begin to see things through your third eye, through your other perceptions that you have. So what I would do is I would find a tree at twilight and I would stare at it without looking at it, if that makes sense. And what I mean by that is if you have ever seen those pictures with the dots and you kind of stare at them and eventually a new picture, a 3D picture comes out of it and into focus. And you can only do that because you're not really looking at it. And that's the same with energy when you begin. You kind of have to look at it in a different way. So you need to switch off your eyes and almost unfocus them and let your other senses, connect with what you're seeing. So that's the best way to do it. And quite often when you first start, the moment that you perceive the aura, it disappears. And that's because you've clicked right back into your sort of left brain and a light bulb's gone and it's gone, oh, wow, look at that. And then the minute you've done that, you've jumped out of your other, your right-brained, intuitive perception, your other way of seeing through your third eye. So you've jumped out of that and back into your normal brain. So you lose the image. But as you become better at this, you should be able to flip between the two and it will become natural to see both. So that's how I would start. Another really good way to look at energy before you start trying to look at it in other people is to place your hands together and start to stare at the space in between your hands as you gently move your hands backwards and forwards. And not only will you begin to feel the energy between your two hands, you're going to feel it like a magnet. It's going to push and pull as you gently move your hands. So I'm asking you to sort of move your hands very gently like this, forwards and backwards, and stare at the gap in between. And as you begin to feel that and stare at it without looking, you're going to start seeing energy. And the best way to describe energy is it's a bit like looking at light rain. I mean, that's kind of energy without colors that doesn't have too much going on. So often when I wake up in the mornings and I look out of the window, I'm saying to my husband, is it raining? And he's going, no, it's not raining, Sarita. And I go, oh, I'm just seeing energy again, because they look really similar. Light rain and energy looks really similar. And as you get more proficient at looking at energy, you're going to start seeing different qualities of it. So it will start taking on density. So the whole thing with energy is it actually has texture. It's a little bit like water and air combined. And then once you become more and more proficient, it's going to start forming colors for you. And I think that's just a way for your brain to translate the information that's coming into you through this extrasensory perception. And so once you kind of mastered those techniques, you can start to begin to look at humans. And that, I think, is the hardest thing to do. And if you want to look at humans, what you really need to do is stare slightly above them, or, you know, around them, sort of around here, around this part of their energy field. And again, you're looking without looking. And it's much harder to look at human beings because they're all really different, their energy fields. But with practice and with intention to do so, you will be able to see energy over time. And it's a really fun and interesting thing to be able to see. So that's why I've given you these handy tips. And good luck with that. And yeah, happy practicing.